This is crazy. I had no idea we were going to be dressed
This was not
alike.
planned.
It was
Like
not planned
this
at
was
all.
not planned. This is just coordination of energy right here.
That is wild. It's like we go to the same church. I just found out we go to the same church. We're dressed alike. If
Come on.
people are out there listening and they're not seeing us visually, that we're dressed alike. We're both wearing maroon. We both got our chains on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Wake Set Go, where we're all about charging up the CEO in you. Now, for our special guest, I'm going to let him talk a little bit about what he does. But from
Okay.
what you may have read or heard about Jay Todd, is that you're a mental health advocate and you're an educator. And I would say a life coach too, and musician, gamer. You know, you got so many
Come
titles.
on.
But I feel like a advocate, a mental health advocate would be a good place to start there. And that's very fitting just because there's so many stigmas going on today around mental health in the community, especially around men, especially around the youth. And I know you work heavily with the youth. And I know that you're all about inspiring and empowering the next generation, which is needed. And so this episode is perfect for anyone that's curious about mental health. We're going to be navigating, discussing healing when it comes to mental health and just being a safe space for others and just continuing to be a light for someone else. So I would love for us to just go ahead and get into it. And thank you so much again.
I thank you for having me. Let me tell y'all this woman here. I met her at a great event. It was the YouTube content creator collective event. Shouts out to the homie, to the big brother, Big Cam I am. And I think what people don't understand is what Big Cam I am does. What Cam does is he really paves the way for people to walk it and to walk with each other. And he doesn't get enough flowers in my book and the respect that he deserves, man, because that was a YouTube event. Like, that was a big event. He definitely connected us as well as a whole community, not once, but twice, with the For Creators Only Part 2, which was great. I'm a professional speaker. Like, I do mental health advocacy, I do education, I do all these different things. And she's like, okay, we're going to connect. I was like, okay, bet, for sure. And we connected.
But as you mentioned, yeah, we did meet at a YouTube creator event, which was just phenomenal. It was
Amazing.
great. So when we did talk, you were saying that you did a lot of things with the youth, a lot of things with mental health aspect.
Yes.
I felt like this was just a perfect platform because Wake Set Go, it is a mantra. It is something that I don't mean it lightly, like when I say affirmations
Yeah.
don't work, like they do work. And
Yes.
sometimes you have to, say things and speak light into yourself, but then also it feels good when others are rooting for you as well and spreading words and spreading light. So, what made you want to get into the mental health space, or how did you know that you were carrying this gift around? Because you
Ooh.
don't really see too many men, especially Black men, being in that kind of capacity. Like, that's a very touchy subject,
Yeah.
filled with so many stigmas, filled with so much vulnerability. So, how did you know that you were ready to share that gift and that was something that was your passion?
It's crazy because, like, people ask me that often, and it's like I have the same answer, but I don't, because it's like I don't know. But I think the heavy part of it is I didn't have a choice. I think that's always the answer that I give. Like, I just never really had a choice. Like, what got me into mental health was growing up around crazy people. And
I get it.
being young enough to not be comfortable with what I was in. Thank God, have enough wisdom to be like, yeah, I don't want this to continue at all. So for me to have the upbringing that I had in terms of, like, being on my own at a very, very young age, and that's not a shot to nobody that's been part of the journey, but in terms of biological parents, I stopped having biological parents at the age of 10. Like, and it wasn't because of their death; it was because of the death of their sanity, essentially. So, granted, once that's not saying that I'm self-made. I'm no, never saying that. It's just, of course, over the years, I gained beautiful family. I gained a beautiful mothers. I got a tribe of mothers. But my mama, Judy, hey baby, that's come on now. But and even then, like I never had a father. Like even when I was supposed to have a father, I didn't, and that was a whole nother piece of it. But then growing up, getting older, I gained a father. Shout out to Bruce. Growing up in all these different stages and seeing different things with different people, seeing it from my biological family firsthand, and it being in environments where there's death, where there's violence, where there's alcoholism, where there's drug addiction, where there's domestic violence, abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, whatever you can think of, it was there. Once I got old enough to understand, like, I don't like this, then the question was, well, what are you going to do about it? And of course, navigating through different traumas, once again, having different tribes of people that became part of the village that made Jay Todd who Jay Todd is. Like, and that's by way of God drawing good people to you. And I can keep listing these phenomenal people who were like, we probably can't love you all the time, but the time that we have with you while you're in front of us, we're gonna love you and we're gonna be part of your life for the rest of your life, however you need us to be. So seeing that in terms of the healthy side and this versus the unhealthy is okay. Well, now I don't have a choice but to like evolve and grow in health, and that's from countless friends from a mass array of family, coaches, football coaches, sports coaches. I mean, people who saw a light in myself that I didn't see. It didn't really give me the option to not speak about it because then I'm looking at this factor of, well, there's also a point of leadership that you have to take while being on a path like that. And when I was younger, I was always that kid that was like, I don't like what I'm seeing here. I was short. I'm little. I'm short now. I'm 5'8". God bless it. Muscles
Short
though. You hear
Kings.
me? 315 throwing them. Now, gotta let him know. Gotta let him know something now. Like, he looks short in that chair. It's okay. Respect. But man, like when I was younger, I hate bullies. I can't stand bullies. And growing up around the people that I did grow up around, even from having a healthy sense of family to then unhealthy, I still grew up around people who were leaders in the community. Some family members I had that were ex-Panthers growing up. I had some people who were valid gang members that got me into the culture that I had to grow into and grow out of eventually. I had people around me who were like part of the changes in their community, that were the pillars of that community, that were the teachers, they were the lovers, they were the healers. So me having all that instilled in me and then taking other outside influences like Malcolm X, Tupac Shakur, beautiful poems from Maya Angelou, and seeing all these other different aspects of like strength and life and love. The first chance I had, I think I was about like, I had to be like 7 or 8 years old. And I was in Miss Bushard's class. This was my first grade class. I think, yeah, I was like seven, 8ish. And I was like, I don't like what they doing over there. Well, what are you gonna do about it? I'm gonna fight them. You could do that because I was right. You could do that, but use your voice, use your mind, use your voice. And I mean, of course, when I got over there, it was hey, y'all leave him alone, leave this person alone. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, we gonna get on you now. I'm not afraid of none of that. And I mean, of course, then it would turn into more of an altercation. But in that moment, once I got home, had to call to my grandmother at the time. She was really like, whatever happens to you, don't ever lose that voice. As much as people can say, hurt people can become healed people. So having to learn what being a healed person is and looking for that example and finding that in many different people who love me along the way. I never had a choice to not talk about it. Like I said, I'm not perfect at all. I have my shelter moments. I have my moments of self-isolation, but I got to realize, like, man, look, you're here for a way bigger purpose. And there's a lot of people who need what you have and what you survived through. But God is good, and I still have a life to help other people live their lives. So, okay, bet. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like in your experience that being that strong, uplifting, positive, word of encouraging friend and person that's again like an advocate and you're a leader and you're a educator, so you're around students, you're around friends that see that and they're drawn to that light that you
Yes.
have. Would it be fair to say that you also would like or need to have someone in your corner
A
that's going to
thousand
do the
percent.
same thing for you?
A
So, do
thousand
you
percent.
feel that there are enough safe spaces, or how do you create safe spaces for other people to be able to share and to feel without having that shame or
Mm-hmm.
having that fear? Or do you feel like that's something that you're still looking to hopefully create? Or is that
Mm-hmm.
just a continued journey? Because I know oftentimes there are patterns where, again, we don't know what everybody is going through. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
has their own kind of trauma. Everybody looks at trauma differently. Some people could have trauma and not even know it because they become so
Man.
used to it that it's just that they're numb to it. They don't feel it. They're just hiding it to say, I'm fine, I'm okay. Like when someone says, how are you? The immediate response to most people is good, because if I
I'm
say
good.
I'm not
Yeah.
okay, how are you going to respond to that? Because not everybody is able to listen, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we feel that, okay, I have to take on that person's burden or troubles and then I'm going to carry it, versus I seen somewhere where someone was talking about calling someone and they may want to vent about a situation, but then also from the other side or from your perspective, there may be so much weight that we're carrying on our own journey that
Yes.
we may not be available emotionally to
Mm-hmm.
take it on. So for a person to say, hey, are you able to take on, or are you able to hear me vent about this right now? So
Yeah.
what do you feel is the process in creating those safe spaces, or are there enough of those, or what is the best
Mm.
way that you think you've learned to have your own outlet when you need it?
I would say, and I mean, you really are hitting it on all aspects. You were hitting the nail on the head, first off. But I would say, for me, being that I have three principles of life that I live by that I will never compromise. I actually learned it from my dad. And whenever I say my dad, I always smile. It's like that's the kid in me smiles. It's like, man, we got a dad now. Like that's dope. Like that's yeah, that's part of it. Like, but three principles that I've lived since I've learned it and I've held on to it. He was like, everybody got principles they got to go by, and he told me his. I was like, that's similar because I've always said that about me. So then, he asked me, what are three principles that you live by that you know them all too well? And my three principles that I live by is love, peace, and safety. And the reason why I live by those principles is because I also understand the art of duality that comes with that. I know love because I also know hatred all too well. I know what it's like to grow up in a hateful environment. And also, if I need to be hateful, which nobody should be, but when it comes to protecting my family and my loved ones, you don't want you are going to get the opposite of love when it comes to that because it's because of the love of why that's so strong. For peace, well, I have to be peace because I know chaos all too well. The world that we live in is complete chaos. So you have to walk around with a sense of peace, but also I know I want that principle when I obtain that principle because I seek that principle at some point every day because we have to. But also I know how much lies within myself that's not at peace, that lies within my mind that's not peaceful. Yes, I am peaceful, but don't get it twisted. The danger on the other side of that peace, the chaos on the other side. I know the art of duality all too well when it comes to my friends, even my nieces and nephews, their children. I am willing to go to war. So I have to be peaceful, right? And in safety, you have to be safe. I have to be safe enough to exist within myself because that's a thing. A lot of us that battle with all of the different depressions and anxiety, we don't feel safe enough to even be ourselves because everything around us is questioning, thus then causing, an extensive internal conflict. And that's, the trauma that you've been through, the trauma that you're surviving through now, the things that you're healing from, the breakup, the mistakes you've made, the failures, the ridicule, the judgments. So I have to be safety because I need that for me. And I need that for my family. I need that for my friends. I want them to have a space where they can have that. But also because once again, I know it all too well to be on the dangerous side of things. In a sense, I am a danger to modern America because I'm a young, educated black man of God who knows his work. So I know how to be that. I know how to be dangerous with what I have. I tell people to stay safe and be dangerous. Be safe and stay dangerous. You gotta be right. So when I learned those things in terms of myself, and then I learned more about just the beauty of what that is with life and with God, and that's when I understood like, okay, these principles of me have to be wherever I'm at so that my friends, my family, even he could be a random person that I encounter across the street. But if I don't give you all three at once, you at least got one throughout your day. You got some love, or you got some peace, or you got some safety somewhere. Because I know what it's like to not have that. And then when I look and I see everyone, I'm like, man, like you just need somebody to love on you today. Or you just need some peace in your life. Because Lord knows what you're dealing with outside of this job. Lord knows what you're
Right.
dealing with once you have to go home, or what you're dealing with outside of this gym. You need some safety because within the first 30 seconds of talking to people, you can tell like if they feel safe. You can
That's
tell
true.
if they have somebody to listen to them. And with me growing up how I did, I didn't have that. I didn't have that growing up. So even now to this day, in terms of creating that safe space for people, I'm still catering towards that 10-year-old little boy. That's when
Mm.
my face lights up whenever I talk about my mom and my dad and the people who I love, because that 10-year-old kid needed those things.
You hit on about that inner child, like healing
Yes.
that inner child and seeing that
Yes.
inner child in you. And something else you said that reminded me of Pastor 83 is when he talks about peace and we look for peace, is that we think, okay, we're at peace and we're protecting our peace by avoiding certain things. And it doesn't work like that. Like you
It does
have to
not
be
work
able
like
to.
that.
Yeah. So
It
I
is.
feel like that reminded me of something he was saying. Yeah.
And even then, Pastor 83, that's a father to me. And Pastor talks about it a lot too. But no matter how you try to run from it, your calling is your calling. Your calling don't care if you're tired. Your calling don't care if you hurt, because even then the actions that we do out of our tiredness and out of our hurt to help others could be what heals us. We talk about how, God gives us gifts and he'll take it away. The Lord gives and he'll take it away. If you don't use the gifts, he'll take them. But there's never a time where, even like when you see people who are strung out on drugs in the middle of the street, will still dap you up saying God is good and then sing something to you. And you'll look at them like, bro, this is crazy. You got this type of voice? Yeah. It's not taken away, because he's going to keep giving the gift, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's a gift that you're supposed to give. It's the reason why the here and now is called a present, because it is a gift. And while we are here in the present, we're supposed to give. We're not supposed to hoard it. The burden, the biggest thing I also tell myself is the burden of knowledge. If I got all this knowledge and all this wisdom, the burden of knowledge is either to hold on to it, which then it becomes a waste, or you give it, which gains more knowledge, which furthers more knowledge and more love and more peace and more safety. So, sometimes not. I don't have a safe space, but I'm not supposed to at some point, because then I have to look at, okay, nobody around me who I thought was my safe space is my safe space. Pray. Okay.
Yeah. So
but
we,
I don't have
yeah,
a safe
I
space right
think it's
now. Read
genuine.
read the word. You said what?
No, I was like, that's genuine because when we think sometimes, okay, we don't have that safe space. And then what you just reminded us all is just that in our spiritual life, in our faith, that we do have that safe space that can over just kind of like overside like everything when it comes to, like you said, the judgment of others or seeking that validation from others, because we have something that is comfort, is
Yeah.
comforting. And then like you said too, sometimes we're led to certain people and certain people come in our lives and we're trying to figure out the reason or how
Yes.
can we pour into them, but then also taking that same energy and pouring it into ourselves so that we can fill others' cups. And I know you work with students in the school system. So I want to know more about your role and how you're able to talk through to them as well and pour into them and help them to see themselves regardless to their circumstances, because I get the energy of empathy, because when you've gone
Yes.
through something, you're able to resonate better with others because you can empathize with them because you're putting yourself in their shoes because you
Yeah.
know what it's like and your experience. So, how do you use your role as far as being in the schools and working with those actual younger kids,
Yeah.
aside from the inner child, but them going through their adolescence and figuring out their feelings to
Yes.
control it? Because I feel like this new generation coming up, I don't know. I mean, they're just exposed to so much at an early age, even
Oh,
faster
wow.
than previous generations. So it's kind of scary. So how do
Yeah.
you, yeah, handle that and navigate those emotions?
First off, prayer a lot. And I mean, before I even walk to the door, like I don't think I don't think I ever really listened to music on the way to work or on the way to a speaking engagement. Like
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. That time, a lot of times I'm like in conversation with God. Like, okay, what am I about to say? I don't know what I'm about to walk into. So please have some favor before I walk into this room. Like, let your favor go before me, because boy, if I walk in there with just me, I'm gonna leave.
Mhm.
There's a mess in here. Yeah, all right, y'all be smooth, and I'm gone. Like and that's not, and that's a boundary. You can call it protecting people, you can call it whatever. No, absolutely not. But I've been through it, and a lot of times I tell kids, I can't judge you because I was you. Like, I don't. The people who helped me and who still help me to this day and who still love me to this day and chose to love me when I wasn't this, when I wasn't, the grown man that's successful and of good faith, when I was the knucklehead kid doing this on his way to a grave or on his way to a jail cell, not seeing any hope in his life. How hard was that to love? Although I was a loving person, a loving kid, I was still a hurt loving kid. So a lot of times I know that love wasn't coming out. So when I see the kids that I work with, when I see the youth that I work with, when I do a lot of like behavioral intervention and things of that nature, I can't look at you like a subject. I'm not going to look at you like trouble. I'm going to look at you as somebody who has trouble. I'm not going to look at you like a problem. I'm going to look at you like you're dealing with a lot of problems, but you don't know how to. And unfortunately, and as much as we could talk about these kids, and even the kids, it's these parents. And it sucks for us because now we're the new generation of parents. But like that baseline coming into us being the parents, they have our parents, our generation of parents, no disrespect to them, but they failed us because their parents somewhat failed them, and now the generation of parents that came after them failed them. No one wanted to talk about depression. Nobody wanted to talk about anxiety. Nobody wanted to talk about trauma because then trauma became normal. Generational curses became a thing. Our parents and generations before us, as much as they felt they didn't have the exposure, they knew and they just didn't do what they needed to. And also to give them grace, they didn't have the tools. But
Right.
now we do. And now we're looking at the kids who have the remnants of what we've been through in terms of generational curses, in terms of stressors, in terms of traumas. Like, there's certain kids that I worked with. I mean, they would tell me their stories, and when they would leave the room, I would cry and pray for them immediately. It's some to where I would hug them halfway through and just embrace them and let them just get it out. Let that out. You're angry because this is going on and you don't understand it. But I do. I've been through it. Once again, what we go through ain't about us. What we deal with ain't about us. It's not. I don't care how many people. Oh, it's just, I'm going through this. Why me? Why me? Why me? Why not you? The test brings out a testimony 100%, but also, you made it through it because you're still here. You're still here. So you made it through it, and you see other people going through it. So why are you not helping them get through? At least with your knowledge. You don't got to give money because money is a funny subject for everybody. You ain't got to give your time because I get it. Your time is so precious, more precious than everybody else. But the least you could do is give a word, is give an ear at minimum. And these kids, when I'm traveling and going to different colleges and talking to little brothers, like, we're the middle children. We're old enough to be respected by the elders now, and young enough to still be relatable to the youth. Ages 7 through 21, right? And for us to have that space, that's such a responsibility because now we're the barriers of communication. It's crazy how we're the adults now because we're just big kids at this point.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like we had the best generation of music and everything. Like us millennials, like it's the best. I mean, right
My
on. And
MySpace playlist on Spotify, I would be going crazy.
I feel you. It's funny you brought up MySpace because I was just doing another interview and we were talking about MySpace and all that. So you just brought it back. So it's
I'm
all
trying to bring
gone.
it back, and I don't know how. I don't know how I'm gonna start the TikTok trend. I got some videos I planned on making in terms of content. I'm taking a break from content creation because I have too much business stuff I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, oh my goodness, it's just MySpace was a time, and even then, what we didn't realize, we was learning how to code, we was learning how to become graphic designers, we was learning how to
I was
become
just saying that.
DJs, music space curators, all that stuff. Like, we was learning it, and but it's like, that's why when I look at these kids, I'm like, You I can't judge you for how you're being, because at one point I was spelling YUH on MySpace with an exclamation point for no reason.
Using all kind of symbols, using everything, doing the most, and then you just grow out of it too. And then, like you said, you mature and you're able to identify
Yes.
what you were feeling and identify the trauma, because a lot of times people are depressed and they don't know that they're going through a
Yeah.
depressive episode.
You
Or
become
people
functionally
say,
depressed.
yeah, or like stress, like it's okay to feel these things. It's okay to feel anxiety. They're like, I feel nervousness. Like, yeah, it's okay to feel this. You have to
Yes.
feel through it and to identify where it's coming from. And I think, again, going back to the generation, it's the time where people, I'm noticing, are more vocal and open about going to therapy. People are
Yes.
now open about saying, okay, this is postpartum, what you're going through with postpartum. Because
Yeah.
sometimes people are like, why are you yelling? Why are you always bad? Or why are you this or that? It goes back to, it could be a health condition, it could be a medical condition, because mental
Yes.
health is a part of our body that everybody goes through. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. We all have those days. And even people that are the happiest people that are smiling all the time, I mean, we all have bad days, we have sad days, we have feelings. We're not robots where if something happens or if someone passes away, that we're not going to feel it. We're not going to feel that emotional connection, regardless. But to the point of figuring out how to go through it, how to find that safe space, even if it's comfort in loved ones, if we have it, or going back to God, as you also mentioned too, having that faith, having that spiritual life that can help us get through when we're lost and we don't have all the answers, which a lot of times
Man.
we don't. We need that guide, we need that path, and sometimes we need to seek it out because it's not always easy. And
Yeah.
it may not, it's designed to be easy, because if that's the case, then life would just be boring because we have it all figured out. And that's not the case. And that could be another stressor, because you have some people that are born to want to know all the answers and to have it all figured out and to be
Yeah.
perfect. And then you get older and you evolve and you realize that we were trying to strive towards perfection, that we should have just been enjoying and relaxing and just enjoying the process, even in our imperfections. Like you said, it makes us who we are. It's a part of our journey, it's our testimony. So in
Yes.
the school, do you see anything that could be built or reformed that is missing when it comes to the mental health space? Because I know when I was in school, we always had guidance counselors, but they always seemed like advisors to help us with
Oh,
our
don't get me
classes,
started.
but not
Don't get
necessarily to
me
talk to you.
started
Yeah.
from elementary, and I don't mean to cut you off because I'm bored. You're not bringing mental health professionals in. You're not bringing people in with proper training. You're bringing in hurt people who just need a paycheck. And that's not dismissing the guidance counselors. Like, we have great guidance counselors where I work. We have a great social worker, but even then, you're putting people in these positions and you are prepping them to fail. You got a social worker coming in to be the only social worker in a whole entire school full of kids surviving extenuated circumstances and trauma. You have a whole school filled with at-risk students and only two counselors. And then you'll have those who are, our age, a little bit older, who are trying to make a change, but that's like undoing decades and decades and decades of damage while meeting these kids ages 5 through 18 who have the same reading level, who have the same type of perception in terms of social cues, in terms of healing through trauma, in terms of reacting to different things emotionally. Some kids don't know that they're depressed because their entire lives have been depression. So they have a sense of learned helplessness. Some kids don't know that they're anxious because all they've done is lived an anxious life, and because of the institutions and because of the education system, the American education system, you give them a label that goes in their record, and then they're treated as such as they progress. Unless they meet somewhere that has programs in place to help them, which is very rare that they do, that's when they become another statistic. They become a
Right.
dropout.
And they don't have that funding either to support them. And then,
Funding.
like you said, there's only two type of mental health people or counselors in the school that you're at, with a lot of students.
Yes.
So how you would reform the system and provide that support and change it would be to have more relatable people
Yes.
available on site
Yes.
to be able to help and guide students, as well as provide not only just a set customized curriculum to meet students where they are, because everybody learns differently.
Yes.
Just because I think it was a quote from Albert Einstein about if, you expect a fish or, someone to comprehend or do things the way that another
Mm-hmm.
student does, and you compare them to learn and retrieve information on the same level, of course you're going to think that they're autistic or dyslexic, but they could be
They
geniuses.
are geniuses.
And
That the
yeah,
craziest part is they
yeah,
are
they are. Yeah,
a lot of these.
it's
And
true.
the reason and what makes them geniuses. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, no,
I'm
no,
just
no. This is
passionate. I'm so
good
sorry.
conversation.
I'm so sorry. But what makes them geniuses is that they are smarter than what we were at their age. Statistics shows because they've been exposed to so much more a lot quicker. However, in terms of the mental aspect, also think about all the trauma that they've been exposed to throughout the past, let's just say first 10 to 12 years of their lives and their existences. We've seen Mike Brown get shot in broad daylight on camera. We've seen people die on camera. We kids can look up YouTube videos of people getting in car crashes and everything else. So when you're already desensitized to trauma, how does that then look in your household? Because now who's teaching you to navigate that? I don't know, maybe a hurt person that never learned how to heal through their trauma. Okay, and then you go to a building full of people who probably aren't in counseling, who probably aren't in therapy, who probably aren't trying to have a healthy life. They're trying to have a healthy life by getting this money, but getting this money is stressful. So where do these kids from pre-K through high school have any chance to meet people that's going to help them grow? And you put it on maybe 2 to 3 people along the journey, sure, but then that's when we go into funding. We never have the funding, but y'all don't have the funding for these positions, but you have funding to build a new basketball court because you
That's
want
an
more
American issue
producers.
too.
You want more.
Right.
You want more producers. You don't have the money to get counselors and mental health things in schools that can help these students. We teaching these kids how to prepare for school shootings instead of teaching them how not to become a school shooter. I'll never forget the first time I was in the classroom for a semester and I had to learn the protocol if there was a school shooter.
Wow.
I've worked with students who have literally been shot, seen their parents get beat on, seen their cousins get killed, and then come to school 2, 3 days later. How does that make sense? How are we? But we don't have the funding. But I see everybody else going on vacations. I see the nice outfits and the hair and I see all of it. And I'm not trying to shame people from enjoying their life. Enjoy your life. But how can you enjoy your life when the quality of the lives that you're serving is terrible? And of course, that could be a humanitarian thing. That can be a whole nother conspiracy thing to talk about how we can debunk the system of education in America, the capitalism, so on and so forth. But when we're talking about mental health, it's either mental health is to be stigmatized, extremely biased, or extremely sheltered and babied. But where is the strengthening there? I don't. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna always hug a kid that's going through trauma because maybe they don't need that. Maybe they need the harsh reality of yes, this is what this is. Yes, this happened. These are the actions that we now have to take place to move forward. Because healing is not a gentle act. Healing hurts. Healing is hard work. Healing is extensive work. The hardest thing you can do is heal. The easiest thing you can do is remain hurt. so what can we put in place in these elementary schools, in these middle schools, in these high schools, in these collegiate programs that's actually catering towards the mind of the future leaders of America, the future adults of America? Well, the answer to your question is that comes with the work that we do. That comes with the work that our churches do. That comes in the work with where these parents should be doing. However,
Yeah. And
wait,
some parents, they don't have that financial means as others. So then you have a imbalance
yes,
curve, because you have some kids that are able to have everything mapped out from funding and investment if they do need that extra assistance. And then
yes,
you have others, the school may be the only place where they're getting fed.
yeah.
That may
Oh
be the
my
only
goodness,
place where they're
yes,
getting physically fed, spiritually
yes,
fed, mentally fed. And that's also the only place where they are going to have those role models as well. And those experiences at school are pretty much their outlet. That's their safe space. So kind of
yes,
going back to that safe space is that, school could be traumatizing, but then it's supposed to be a place where they can go to be a kid. Unfortunately, that is the only option that they have because
Yeah.
their home may not be that safe space. So creating that, and then like you said, it takes that investment, but at times it seems like it's not a priority for politicians, for community activists, just because it doesn't always sound good, sound right. People don't really feel confident in reaching back, even though it is important because we all had to have a teacher, but they're being significantly underpaid compared to other careers that other people may go into. So then it just becomes a circle
It's a
or
slippery slope.
situational circle. Yeah, yeah, because people, they may have passion about helping the youth, but then you have some people, like you said, they're just doing it for a paycheck and their heart isn't in it. And that's going to also show too. And it's going to end up either empowering and motivating because they're going to spend their lives trying to prove that one teacher wrong, or it could set them back
Yeah.
and it could spiral them too as well, especially if it's an unhealthy environment. And so that's, yeah. So,
Once again, we are living in a society where they either want mental health to be weak enough to where it can be monetized off of, thus having consumers and producers, or you want it to be weak enough to where you could take advantage of anybody and prey on their hurt and prey on their pain and make something out of it for benefit of something else, an ulterior motive.
I can see that so much, just, and that is probably another reason why people don't reach back and get back to the youth, because if they're not getting a gain out of it, they're not going to want to invest in it, especially if they're not benefiting from it. And then you have some people that will listen to your hurt and trauma, like you said, but they're doing it to make themselves feel good too, because when people are going through their struggles, they don't want to see someone happy. They want to see drama. It
Come
excites
on.
them. But like you said, a healed person, that, and a person that is also active in their faith, they're not going to, especially if they're compassionate and empathetic, they're not going to rejoice when you're struggling. They're going to feel that same pain. They're going to feel for you and they're going to want what's best for you. And when we talk about healing, if you could describe healing like in one word, what would that word be?
Healing is
Work.
work. And there, of course, the of course the spirit in me was like, say God. It was like, no, 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 no. Healing is God. God is everything. God is love. I'm not discrediting that. But in terms of human beings healing us in this flesh, this flawed, sin-filled flesh, these overthinking minds that we got, and these overfilling hearts that we got, where we listening with our emotions instead of listening with a level of understanding, where we looking at everything through a lens that we want to look at, but we're not trying to look past like what we see instead of looking at the deeper meaning. Healing is work. It takes work to heal. You have to work to get a paycheck. You got to work to get the body you want. You got to go to
Mm-hmm.
school and do the work to become educated. You think that healing, that's not anybody else's responsibility to heal you. Healing is work. Like everything else, it's work.
Yeah, we got to put in the work. Just like with exercise, it's like we do things preventively to also keep us from having to take prescription pills.
Yes.
They say go to the gym. Yeah, it's hard, but it's to prevent you from being in the hospital instead. And then they say eat healthy, which is work because it takes time to actually plan your meal versus going to eat fast food.
Yes.
And so it's just so many variables and comparisons of that work aspect that we do have to do to train ourselves to actually know, okay, I can put this into action, because our daily habits also contribute to the bigger goal, the bigger picture of our heal self and of a new version that we can introduce to people. Because when people say, oh, I remember when you used to do this and this and this from 5, 10, 15 years ago. But however, we evolve as creatures. We're not the
Yes.
same. there are some people that are still in the same, so they're still looking from that same lens. But as we grow, we become who we are supposed to be and destined to be, and we can fit into those shoes of what our purpose is, which is what led you to do what you're doing now. And at that time, I'm sure your younger self didn't realize that you were going to be able to take that journey and use it and spin it and be able to
Man,
help inspire other people and touch other people and make an impact on their lives. And I think it's not by choice or chance that while you're, studying your faith and working on your own mental health, that you're helping others along the way. And that also is going to inspire other people to do the same. And you may not realize it, but sometimes we can't always convince people just by telling them. Sometimes they
right.
have to see our example that
Action.
we do. So with that, as far as the work, I want to transcend it into what is it that you do to recharge yourself? Like, what's something that you do to recharge yourself creatively? Because I know
Yes.
you have a life outside of just mental health and coaching and working with students and doing behavior intervention. So, how do you recharge on those days where you're, taking on so much? And what does that look like?
On some days, I just be still. I try my best to tell the people like the beauty of stillness because I do a lot. At some point, I'm gonna have to be still because if you don't make yourself still, God gonna make you still, and that sucks sometimes. That comes with health issues. That comes with frustration. Like I should be doing this. No, find some stillness. I practice stillness a great deal. I'll get invited to some spaces. I'm like, you know what? I could go. Nah, just chill. Like your eagerness is good, but stillness is better. I meditate, and people are like, well, you're a Christian man. How meditating is not me sitting there worshiping another God. I'm still talking to my God. I'm just being still and literally just existing, meditating. I'm saying the affirmations. I'm believing in what I'm saying. I'm doing my best to manifest things. And my thing is, I know that those things are only going to go as far as God wants them to go. So I'm saying that more so for self assurance. So maybe I can hear God speaking through me today to me. I know sometimes He may speak through me for others. Maybe I can give a word to myself today, and if I can't, at least I'm just still. When I'm meditating, I'm just still. I'm at peace. I'm breathing. I'm just calming my heart rate, existing, thinking, doing my best to think through something. If sometimes when you're meditating and you're just being still, you're feeling through your way through something. Because you may react and do something that ain't even credible to what you're trying to build for yourself in the future. It'd be some days when I'm like walking and I'll be talking out loud and people think I'm talking to myself. I'm praying. I'm talking. I'm having a conversation. The gym. I love the gym. Go to the gym, even if it's just getting there. Okay, you got there. Get on the treadmill, lift a little bit, go sit in the sauna, do something. But go to the gym. Let your mind, because we're talking still about mental health, let your mind release the chemicals that it needs to for your body to actually do something different, for your neurons to fire off a lot differently. Let them endorphins flow. Let that blood flow. We sit all day or we on our feet all day. So that means all our blood in our bodies going to one place. Go get active, move around a little bit. So I know I just said stillness, but once again, art of duality. I know how to be still, but I also know in order to be healthy, I gotta get in this gym. And it ain't got nothing to do with I want to look good. I mean, sure, of course, everybody does. That's just normal. But I want to feel good. When I have children and grandchildren, I want to be able to run with them and jump with them and play with them. I'm an ex athlete, messed up shoulder, messed up knee, bum ankle. You have to do something to keep your mind firing. So you know, stillness, meditation, prayer, the gym. Um, man, what I do to recharge, I eat. I eat. I will go get a comfort food in a quick second, which is another reason why I go to the gym. I don't eat healthy at all. Don't let it fool y'all. Don't let it fool y'all. Someone say you must be the healthiest. No, I'm not. I am a certified big back, and I will say it
Love
proudly.
it.
Don't let it fool you. No, I just know how to go to the gym and try to run it off a little bit and turn some of that chubbiness into a little bit of muscle. It's still some chubbiness though. I do things that bring me genuine joy. Sometimes food brings me genuine joy. A mixed plate from Gates and a bean and a good little pie. And even that brisket, macaroni and cheese, praise God. See, big bag. But that brings me joy, man. Talking to my friends who make me laugh, who I can genuinely laugh with, like talking and dealing with people who I know genuinely love me for free. And people see me say it a lot. I talk about it a lot. When I tell people, "Hey, bro, I love you. I love you for free, bro." I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to be the Jay Todd. I don't have to be.
Be performative.
I don't have to be the guy. I don't have to be the educator, the speaker. I am just Jay to these people, and they love me for no reason at all. Like, and maybe their reasons are reasons that I'm not supposed to know, but they love me, and it's not with ulterior motives. It's not a transactional thing. We love each other because love is genuine. When love is genuine, it's not transactional. So
I feel like so many people listening are probably going to be like, okay, now JJay Todd Talks. Where can we hear more of him? What's the next project? Where's the next event? Where is it that people need to go to support you, support your work, support what you have going on, or anything that you are trying to do in the future?
okay, so first off, thank you for letting me be in your space and sharing your platform with me, because Wake Set Go is going to change lives. Because the moment I went and so this is you, yeah, I looked, I was like, oh my God, I'm motivated.
I mean, hey, yeah. I mean, everything that you said, even with the recharging, that's pretty much the wake, set, go, because,
Yes,
there's moments where you got to, wake, do your meditation,
yes,
and then you're set where you're taking time to practice, hone it, whatever it is, and just sit in your gift. And then the go, where's your time to shine
come
in
on.
action and mode, and it's constant, every day. I even shared that I use this mantra myself whenever there's moments of stagnancy and
Mm,
complacency.
mm,
You have to find that motivation, and sometimes that inner motivation of your inner CEO. Even if you're not running your own business or running your own company, you're running yourself like a
yes,
business, like a company. You are the CEO of your life. And I am glad to have connected and to have you on to be able to share and lean into what it is that you do, the work that you do in the
thank you.
community, and have your voice to be able to also enlighten and share and help others too, because it's needed. It's not always the most entertaining because it's not a lot of drama. It's
Yeah,
not a lot of craziness,
it ain't
but it
messy.
is something, yeah, that people need if they do take the time to listen, hopefully.
But everybody, you can find me at JAY_TODD26 on all platforms. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, Jay Todd, of course, but Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, Threads. Did I say TikTok? I think I said TikTok. But yeah, JAY_TODD26. The number's 26. That's where you can find me. I have music out. Jay Todd. It's two of us. There's one that makes really good gospel music. Shout out to that guy. He's an amazing vocalist. But then it's me, who I make nice music, mental music, R&B. I love R&B. Uh, man, in terms of projects, I have a new form of content that I'm going to push. I've been planning. I have some decisions that I'm making currently with my business and also with some career things. Just stay tuned and please give me some grace and patience. I know how the algorithm is. It's unforgiving. I have content coming out.
I again appreciate you for connecting and joining the Wake Set Go audience of go getters who are out there just wanting to get charged up. And I appreciate you. So, if there's not any other words that you would like to
Oh man,
leave
look,
with the go getters, or anything else
hey,
that
look,
you feel
y'all
that you
got the
need to
right
share
one.
and get out.
Y'all got the right one with her, man. She's amazing, and thank you for all that you do. Thank you for developing people's mindsets and having the courage to do that, because it takes a lot of bravery to do that. As far as for me, man, look, all love to you guys. If you want to book me speaking, hit my DMs, or that's another thing I was going to tell you. I have a website that just came out. So
Awesome. So we will drop the link
JToddTalks.com.
too.
Book me, get at me. Always do the best as you can. Don't try, do. That's that's what I live by. So thank you so much. God bless you for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you, Wake Set Go. Oh my goodness, this is so dope.
This is awesome. Yes. Thank you. Until next time, thank you guys for listening.